now the governor of the state of Massachusetts, Governor Deval Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Reva, good morning. I want to just say a word or two about why Cory Booker's win is important to me. I don't vote in New Jersey. I am from Chicago, and there were rules or lack of rules back then, so you could vote just about anywhere you want. But I don't actually vote in New Jersey, but I do care about the business of the United States Senate. And what they do right and what they do wrong affects us at home in Massachusetts as well. And I'm interested not just that they do right, but that they do right for the right reasons. As the Assemblyman said, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. Anybody here know the south side of Chicago?
Yes, sir. South Sheridan.
All right. 54th and Wabash in my case. So not the garden spot. I lived there with my mother, my grandparents, and my sister and various relatives who came and went in our grandparents' two-bedroom tenement, most of that time on welfare. My mother and sister and I shared one of those bedrooms and a set of bunk beds. So you go from the top bunk to the bottom bunk to the floor every third night on the floor. I went to big, broken, violent, overcrowded, under-resourced public schools. I don't remember a time when I didn't love to read, but I don't remember actually owning my own book until I was 14 years old, and I got a break through a program called A Better Chance to go to Milton Academy outside of Boston. That was in 1970. For me, that was like landing on a different planet. There are a lot of things we didn't have on the South Side in the 50s and the 60s, but one thing we did have was a community. Because that was a time when every child was under the jurisdiction of every single adult on the block. You know, if you messed up down the street in front of Ms. Jones, she'd go upside your head as if you were hers, right? And the worst part of it is, then she would call home, so you got it 2 times. What those adults were trying to get across to us, I believe, was that they had a stake in us. And that a community is about seeing the stake you have in your neighbor's dreams and struggles as well as your own. To me, that sense of community, of common cause and common destiny has been coming unraveled in this country for a long time. And not all of it by accident. Some of it by policies and programs being pushed or ideas being pushed that are about driving us away from each other and convincing us that everybody's on his or her own. It seems to me what we need in our political leadership and in our civic leadership is an invitation back to common cause, an invitation back to community, and leadership that is about asking us to turn to each other instead of on each other. That's why I'm for Cory Booker. At home in Massachusetts, we have worked real hard to make some hard decisions that maybe weren't so convenient politically, weren't so good for the next election, but might be good for the next generation. That's why we've worked hard to make the schools stronger and to finance the schools. That's why we've worked hard on workforce development so that we have the talent we need for the kind of economy we're becoming. Is why we've worked hard on the so-called innovation industries, that life sciences and biotech and clean and alternative energy and digital technologies. Because we have the greatest concentration of universities and colleges in the world, 300 or so within 90 minutes of downtown Boston. So brain power is a natural resource for us. We've got to cultivate that and make sure we're not leaving people out. And those kinds of investments are the reason why right now in Massachusetts we're first in the nation in student achievement, and first in the nation in health care coverage, and first in the nation in veteran services, and entrepreneurship, and competitiveness. It's why we came out of recession faster than most other states, why we've regained all the jobs we lost during the Great Recession. None of this is by accident. Is because we keep saying to each other and to the general public, we have a stake in each other and we need to invest with that in mind. That is exactly the way Mayor Booker has governed in Newark. Take the schools in particular. I happen to believe that the single best buck government can spend is in education. It's still the path forward and up. It's still the way to teach young people how to look up rather than down. It's still the way to get them to imagine a different way forward, and then to give them the tools to reach for it. Education, great schools, and no excuses. I am so tired of having people say poor children can't learn, and so we should just walk away from the schools that serve poor children. I learned, and I had expectations and standards set for me at home and in the schools, even in those broken classrooms on the south side of Chicago. There is no reason, no good reason, not to invest in public education. And every good reason to invest in public education. And that's what Cory Booker has been about. Make sure that people understand this is not about Cory's future. It's about our future. Our community's future, our country's future. And then make sure you get to the polls and you bring as many people as you can with you. I always say to people, we get the government we deserve. Sit it out, and you'll deserve what you get. Get engaged, we'll get better government, and through better government and the goodwill of all of us and the grace of God, a better tomorrow as well. God bless you all. Thank you very much for having me.